Hi guys, so I'm Hannah and this is my UCICP presentation and I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Okay. And get this loading. Okay. So for my presentation, I decided to do a project on my mom and sister's experience in Jordan this summer. They were able to participate in a humanitarian trip where they helped a refugee camp in Oman. And so I'm going to quickly go over the project overview. So like I said, they participated in a humanitarian trip to support these refugees in Jordan. And the organization that they helped is called CRP Oman. And they're also known as the Collateral Repair Project. And their center helps refugees in Jordan. This presentation is based on the interviewees' responses. I sent them a list of about 15 questions and I collected their most insightful responses and information to share with you. So we'll just get right into it. I asked them what services that they participated in, and they explained to me that the center needed intense facility repair, and that included cleanup, organization, painting, and they helped build a recreation area for children. And it was important that this group of youth came and participated because without their help, these camps would have to outsource these projects to other companies, and that would take away the money that could have gone to the refugees. So with their help, the money stays within the organization, so additional funding is there when they need it. So that's very important for them to keep it in-house in a way. So I asked them if the refugees were open with them about their struggles. They mentioned that throughout the project there was a language barrier that was heavily present, but they did notice that the children spoke more English than the adults based on the education that they were being received because of this camp. And the CRP organization provides a workshop that helps women with homemaking and helps them create profit for themselves, which is a really great opportunity for them because it helps these women start their own businesses and they get the majority of the profit from it. Can be anything that they make. It could be jewelry, handbag, whatever. And so this helps them tremendously provide for their families. That was a really great thing for them to see them do. And also Joni mentioned that the woman felt like the camp was really excellent at helping their children deal with trauma because these refugees go through getting placed in the country that they're in is a lot of work. It's a lot of they went through a lot of difficulty, and sometimes these children were very, very young when that happened, so a lot of them have to deal with trauma, and so the center is able to help them with that. So that was really interesting. So I also asked them, how has COVID-19 affected the refugees? And they mentioned how because of COVID-19, a lot of these centers were closed down and they had a lot of strict restrictions, but because this center is sponsored by the local government, basically, they are going to have stricter restrictions because they oversee everything that the CRP Center does to help these refugees throughout their stay and also throughout the pandemic. They provide refugees with counseling, exercise classes, cooking classes, anything to help them relieve stress and anxiety. You can see on the left, there's a picture of my mom, Joni, and 3 workers at the CRP Center. And I think this was after a cooking activity. So that was a really cool experience for her, and she shared a little bit about that. I also asked them their thoughts on what caused the refugee crisis in Jordan. They mentioned how Jordan has received over 672,000 refugees from the Syrian crisis, which is a lot. And one of the biggest takeaways that they had was that these refugees are still dealing and recovering from the 2003 Iraqi crisis conflict, which is crazy to think, because you think that, it would take them not that long, but it really takes them a long time for these refugees to be placed in another country, because they need to be permanently settled, and it takes a long time for these countries to place them where they need to be. So it's just crazy, because for us that seems like a really long time ago, but for them it really wasn't. They're still dealing with the aftermath of that conflict every day. And they got to speak with the workers of the center, and they said that the volunteers need to, once they get home, to share with everyone that they know that Jordan is still dealing with this conflict, and that politics, international policy doesn't matter. And so that was really interesting for them to learn, because sometimes we forget how impactful that was for them. I also asked them, how has their experience changed their perspective on refugees and immigration? And Joni shared this quote in her interview, and she said, "Geography is destiny, but by the grace of God go we." Just to note, geography is destiny is a quote that's used quite often, but she added the last part to that, and explained how some people don't understand, especially in first world countries, that refugees don't put themselves in the situation, that they don't wake up and say, I'm going to go through all this difficulty to get my family where they need to go. I'm going to start a new life. I'm going to forget everything that I know. And they shared that they were able to see how refugees deal with these challenges day to day, and how they share the same feelings as any family unit would in any country, in any situation. They need shelter, love, and food, basically, and basic necessities, and everything that we would want, they would want. So to not think of them as displaced or, lost, but to help them see them as people and not just displaced. And this picture is also my mom with 2 refugees that she met. And that is the whole presentation. But let me open this up real quick. So just a side note, that's the end of my presentation. But if you want to learn more about the organization that they helped, it's called CRP Oman. They are always looking for help, either with donations or social media help or anything like that. So let me know if you have any questions about that, if you'd like to learn more about how you can help. And if you have any questions on how to participate in a trip like this, I have resources for that also. As I've been on a similar one myself, not in Jordan, but in South America. But let me know, and thank you for watching, and leave me any feedback you have. Thanks.